All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. As always, happy Friday, everybody. Bringing that Friday energy to you. It is a good day, nice and sunny here in Seattle. And I'm sure it's sunny where our guest is, Guido Nunez, down there in California. Guido is from the W2 Investor. He helps W2 employees become investors themselves, and he is the multifamily man. So he's in multifamily. We always like talking about multifamily because it's such a good asset to invest in. So Guido, I'm super excited to jump into this. Thanks for hopping on the show.
Thanks, Gabe. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. I told you before we got on here, we always like to start with stories and hear how our guests got to where they are. It's always a unique story that us investors have. So why don't you go to the beginning of your story in real estate and tell us how you got started?
Yeah, I got started sometime like in 2007, somewhere around there. My mom was a real estate agent in residential. So she bought and sold homes, and every so often I kind of flip a house there with her. But th things went awry in 2008, 2009 with the big recession that hit us. So, that went to the side, and I got laid off like 5 years later, sometime around that. And I just started thinking about how much we are dependent on our W-2 income for everything, including every year you get that kind of small increase, and you think it's going to be a big change in your life, but it's not.
But then inflation beats that increase. And so you're like, God
Yeah, you
damn it.
just get beat down, right? And you keep having dreams of making a lot of money and being wealthy. But the reality is, if you're not doing something now, things are going to change in the future for you. And so, once I was laid off and went back to corporate America, I was just obsessed with, how can I create new streams of income? And I thought about franchising, which I'm so happy I never did.
I
I
actually,
thought,
funny thing, I actually thought
yeah,
about franchising when I first got started too. I was looking into home health care, and my sister's actually she's a nurse, and so I was thinking like, oh, we can do something. But looking back, I'm like, thank God I did not do that.
yeah.
That
I,
would be
I, I
difficult.
didn't even know that there's a home health franchise. Like, what are you doing that?
No, I didn't do it, so I don't know enough about it. But
Okay.
I the only point that I brought that up was that I also went down the franchise route. A
Franchise,
lot of the
yeah, I just
franchises, you need a lot of upfront capital to get those things started.
you do, and I don't think a lot of people realize how much capital you need because there's a lot of like SBA loans that you could pull,
Hmm.
but you get in debt fast, and the
And
failure
if you
rate
don't
on
have
a lot.
experience, like,
Yeah, even worse, right?
yeah.
So, my son asked me about opening a restaurant or something like that, and I was quick to answer, F no.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm never going down that route.
Yeah.
So you ended up you looked in the franchise route and you said that's not for
Yeah,
me. How'd you get
that's
into real
not for
estate?
me. So, I started just thinking about like the answer's always kind of been there, right? I used to kind of dabble in flipping houses, and I was just like, well, what if I went back and I did something there? Um, my mom used to always say that was the slow path to wealth.
Hmm.
And I said, okay, well, maybe that's what I do. So, I kind of um, partnered up with my brother, who had a lot of capital, and he wasn't kind of the real estate guy, investing guy. He's kind of more of a corporate guy, but I wanted to get my hands dirty and learn. And so, we went into this smaller building in the D area. Not a great looking asset, but it was kind of the first foray into, the real estate multifamily. And I thought, if I'm going to do it, like let it be a little bit more bigger, more lucrative. And that was kind of the first foray. Haven't looked back since, bumps in the roads, but it's been pretty good.
Nice. So you started, you kind of had a little bit of background with your mom being a realtor, you'd done some flips. But you decided you wanted to go a little bit bigger. You wanted to do multifamily.
Yeah.
I think that's a good decision for anybody out there that wants to get started. Maybe if maybe start on smaller multifamily if you do want to kind of cut your teeth on something, but definitely if you
Yeah.
do want to take real estate seriously, go into something that can scale. Multifamily can scale, mobile home
Scale.
park, self storage.
Yeah.
Self
Yeah.
single family flips are definitely more difficult to scale. Can be done,
Yeah.
but a little bit more difficult. So
Yeah. And that's a great point because if you're going to do it multifamily, I always tell people, get into fourplexes or triplexes or something smaller that you can learn and then scale up instead of jumping into something that can really hurt you.
yeah, if you buy wrong. Um,
Yeah. I don't know.
so you got into multifamily. It was in a D area. How did that first flip go?
Um, yeah, not easy. It was a, older property, a lot of problems. You just learn. Wasn't easy, but we made some decent amount of money and I went off and I bought another asset, this one all on my own.
Okay,
And I think that was the game changer for me. Because being on your own, putting everything together, I was the manager as well as the asset manager as well as everything else.
did
And
it
so that
all.
one did it all. I used to have this tool bag. I used to walk around, and then one day I told myself, like, what am I doing? Like, if I want to scale and build wealth, like, why am I, you know, holding a toolbox or a tool bag? So that there was a lot of points in there where it was a different mentality.
Yeah. I feel like those kind of inflection points are necessary for everybody going through it because, when you first get started, you only know what you know. You got to get
Yeah.
out there, you got to get your hands dirty, you got to make mistakes. And then
Yeah.
the world starts kind of opening up for you, and you realize, like, I should not be holding the hammer. I should not be laying tile. This is not where it's not only not getting me to where I want to go, but it's also probably an inferior product for what people would be receiving. I
Yeah.
say this
Yeah.
from, yeah,
Yeah, and it's so true. I think that was the inflection point because once I started like delegating out, like I have a manager now, and let maintenance be maintenance, and everyone, the experts be the experts. That's when I started like accelerating, and I started going different routes and meeting people and buying new assets. And at one point now, I think last year I came out on the Business Insider, and that was the piece where I was just like. Uh, I made some right moves, right? And I was happy. It was good. And
yeah,
it continues, knock on wood.
yeah. So, I mean, your website is the W-2 investor. That means
Yeah.
you've been investing in real estate alongside your corporate job.
Yeah.
So tell us kind of how that journey's been. I did invest a little bit when I was in corporate, but I left and just made real estate my full-time focus. But it can be done. And I've seen, I follow some people on LinkedIn who have 1,000 plus stores in their portfolio, and they're still working a job because they like their job. One guy that I follow is a police officer. He just really likes being a police officer, but he has
Yeah.
over 2,000 doors under, in his portfolio. And so, quitting your job is not something that everybody even wants to do. Sometimes you really enjoy your job, so you want to keep it. So, how do you
How
make
do you make
that balance
that
work?
balance? Yeah, first I have so much respect for those who have the courage to take that leap.
Yeah.
I just want to say that, for me, I really like my job. I have a master's degree in what I do, and that's kind of I want to continue to do that, but I also love real estate. So I want to keep both for now. Eventually, I think I'll have to leave my job because, you have to reprioritize what it is that you want, and it's the real estate side that's really just 10x my wealth. And, my CPA last year, asked me, so when are you gonna leave your job? And that's the reality of it, right? So, in order to do it, I've kind of come across, a few learnings. The first one is that you have to just have a ferocious appetite to learn. You got to learn the business, got to learn how to underwrite. You got to go to, meetups, listen to podcasts, read books, practice. If you're not a people person, this is probably not what you want to do because there's a lot of cold calling. Like I cold called a ton to meet brokers. So that has helped me a lot. And I think you also have to just be more disciplined. about what you do, and that requires discipline and time,
Yeah.
you know, finding the efficiency to do both your job and your side investing. So that's probably been the biggest learning for me is how do I maximize my efficiency,
Yeah.
get all the BS out of it, out of time.
Yeah. And that, I mean, I see people like Elon Musk who has,
Oh,
multiple billion, $1 trillion company. I think Tesla's
it's
$1 trillion
crazy,
company. It's
right?
got to be. Um, but it's just crazy that they have the time to do all this. Obviously, they're, it's a bigger story than that. But yeah. So managing time is obviously super important.
Yeah.
Is there anything it's like, do you do real estate in the morning and then go to work, or how do you kind of give us a little bit more insight onto the structure of how you're managing the time?
Yeah, so automate everything.
Hmm.
If I can automate something, it's gonna be automated. Once the first uh, day of the month comes in, and you know that because you're in the same, real estate, everything just starts getting paid or managed. So if you can automate it, automate it. The second thing that, I'll say is you have to be disciplined and delegate to those who are on your team. So I'm not trying to micromanage anybody. I mean, if they're on my team, they know what they're doing. Um, and so that takes a lot of the pressure off of me.
Hmm.
When I'm actually starting to look at actually the business, how it's going, I am trying to um, look at it early in the morning. Yeah, sometimes I'll look at it, within, my work time frame. But that's after all the priorities within my corporate job are being taken care of.
And
Um,
and what is it that you're looking? I mean, really go down to the nuts and bolts. What do you do in the morning? Are you
yeah,
do you use maybe Appfolio, Buildium, for your property management? And you take a look at those KPI. What are you looking at,
yeah.
the letters that are going out, the calls, the offers that have been made? What are the things that you're tracking?
Yeah, so it depends what I'm doing. So if we're closing a month on the current properties, I'm looking at all the financials. How did we finish the month? Are we tracking to our pro forma? Because we're going to sell a property, like we're going to sell two of our properties this year. So I am like Hawkeyes into what the NOI is looking at. We need really good performing months because
Mm,
that's going to dictate the T12, right? So that's one of the things I'm looking at. We're looking at properties right now, writing offers for Texas properties. So I'm underwriting pretty heavily. That's part of what I'm looking at pretty closely. So in the disciplines of the weeks. I guess it depends on what week we're in,
mm.
but for the most part, that is what I'm looking at is the financials, the underwriting, um, and depending on the time, I'm making the calls again with the brokers, kind of cycling back around and saying, hey, we're looking for properties.
Yeah, that makes sense. Right on, man. Well, hey, it looks like we
Yeah,
have gone through our time. It's time to jump into the quick question round. Are you ready?
yeah, let's do it.
All right. It starts with oops, I lost my spot. It always starts with the same thing, so I don't know why I'm trying to follow a script here. But it starts with books or any form of education. Give me two recommendations: one for general life wisdom, and then one for real estate.
For real estate, out of state investor. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. That was actually the one I kind
Sorry, I missed the. What was the title?
of I think it's out of state investing.
Oh, out of state investor. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the non real estate book is that's an easy one. Can't Hurt Me, David Goggins.
Oh, okay. That's good.
That was a
I
game changer for me.
I always see his stuff pop up on when I get on YouTube. And
Yeah.
him just yelling at you to to quit being a
Do something.
pansy.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like that.
So if you follow Goggins, he has a 4x4 challenge. I ran one of the legs with him. Well, he blew me away, but I
That's
ran
funny.
part of it.
What is the 4x4 challenge?
So you run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours.
4 miles every 4 hours for
44
48
hours,
hours.
48 hours. Yeah.
That is a lot of running. I would not be able to do that, but right on for doing that. That's
Yeah, I
impressive.
won't do it again. Yeah, count me out.
All right, next question is about the US. It's a big place, lot of opportunity out there. Give me the single metro you're most excited about investing in today.
Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas. All
Yeah,
right.
we're writing offers right now. I like that
Yeah.
market a lot. Yeah,
Yeah. Dallas is a lot of good fundamentals out there.
yeah.
Um, Next question is about your younger self. Let's go back to the Guido who was, just getting started with his mom back in 2007. Go back to him, look him in the eye, give him one piece of advice moving forward.
Stay in it. Yeah,
Stay in it. All right.
stay in it.
Don't give up. And it's so
Don't give
easy
up.
to want to give up if you've written like 100 offers and none of them got accepted, or a
Yeah,
deal fell through for whatever. But just don't. Just keep going, and
yeah, yeah.
eventually,
Yeah, quick story. One of my early deals that I was on with myself, I gave up. I put it on the market. It was an escrow, and it fell out of escrow. And but that was the game changer deal for me because once it fell out of escrow, I realized the mistake that I was doing getting
mm,
out of it because I said I'm out of it. I stayed in it, and and it was all. It was great because
mm,
that is kind of where I accelerated built the wealth. And if you're any of your listeners ever have time, Business Insider wrote a story on that, um, where it kind of talks a little bit about that experience. But
yeah.
yeah, there's going to be down days, but there's going to be more up days. It just depends on how you take it.
If you hold real estate long enough, you're not going to
Yeah,
lose, provided you don't buy it for
yeah,
a stupid
yeah,
stupid price.
yeah.
All right. Next question is about finding deals. It all starts with getting in contact with the seller and writing up that purchase agreement. So, what is your favorite way to generate leads and find new deals?
To generate leads, broker calls. That is
Okay.
the number one way for me. And it's not even like if you go on like LoopNet and you find a deal
Craigslist,
that
yeah.
is not in your buy box, it doesn't matter because that broker that is on
Has other
there
deals.
has other deals.
Yeah.
And the one that we're writing an offer right now came from a broker's contact that gave us a heads up that it was coming down the way.
Yep. Yeah. I like to make offers off of, I use Crexy, not LoopNet, but
Yeah.
yeah, I like to make offers off of Crexy just
Yep.
so that broker knows that I'm trying to buy. A lot of times, I'm not gonna be competitive
Yep.
in a lot of the assets that I look at in self storage, mobile home RV, because people are buying them for stupid prices, like five caps. It's like, how does that even make sense? But I'll still make an offer just because I
Yeah.
know that broker will now understand I am looking for buyers. I'll be in their CRM, and when
Yeah.
they do get a deal that comes that kind of fits more my buy box, then I'll be there and I'll be top of mind.
Yeah, and that's a great tip.
Yeah.
And because once you make an offer or place an LOI, that broker has you have their broker's attention.
Yep. All right. Second to last question is about lessons learned. Not every deal that we get into goes the way that we expect it. A lot of times, a wrench is thrown into the mix, and
Yeah.
we get to learn a lesson. So, what was a deal that went a little sideways for you, and then what was the lesson you pulled from it?
Yeah, it was the one where I put the deal on the market. I gave up. I was like, I'm done. Yeah, we it was everything. We had evictions, we had flooding, we had restoration there, and if you ever dealt with restoration, expensive.
Yeah, sucks.
And yeah, it sucks. So there was a lot of problems going on, and I was just like, hey, I'm gonna take the money I made and be happy with it, and I'm exiting. But like I said, the deal fell through, and you know, I just took it differently.
Yeah. All right. That leads us to the last question. This is for the listeners. You've given us a lot to think about. I'm sure people want to reach out, get in contact with you. Where can they find you? And then what can they expect when they reach out?
Yeah, so you could just go to my website, the W2 Investor, sign up for my newsletter. There's also a link there to set up some time with me to chat. I love talking to people. That's probably the number one thing I love about this business is the amount of new people that you can meet and new experiences you can share. So yeah, set some time with me or just follow me at on Instagram at the W2 Investor.
Perfect. I'll put that link in the show notes. So if y'all want to reach out, just click a little more in the description. It'll pull down that full description, and in there you can find Guido's link.
Thanks,
All
Gabe.
right, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that wraps it up. Thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Thanks, Gabe.
Absolutely. For everybody who's here with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. So if you guys have any questions, reach out to me, Gabe at the realestateinvestingclub.com. If you want to support us, just give us a review on Apple or whatever platform you're listening to this on. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Keep rocking real estate. And if you haven't started, get started now and go buy a property. Look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode.